Ifeanyi and his wicked uncle. In the heart of a small Igbo village, nestled between the rolling hills and ancient rivers, the sun rises, casting its golden glow on the land. Today, a journey begins. Ifeanyi, a young man, stands before his home, his eyes filled with hope and determination. He is about to leave the life he knows to serve his uncle, Obinna, in the distant city, a place of opportunity and wealth, yet filled with unknown trials. His father, Namdi, an elder in the village, watches his son with pride. Namdi has known struggle and sacrifice, and now he entrusts his only son to the hands of his brother. There is a tradition in the land, a sacred bond that requires a young man to serve his kin, to work, to toil, and in return, to be rewarded with a future of his own. But in this tradition, there is an unspoken truth. Trust is everything, and today trust begins its long journey. 20 years, a lifetime for a young man. 20 years of promises, hard work, and dreams. As Ifeanyi takes his first steps toward the city, little does he know that the road ahead will be filled with both great success and great betrayal. The city, a place where wealth and power collide, where the strong thrive and the weak fade away. Here, Ifeanyi finds himself under the guidance of his uncle, Obinna. For 20 years, he will serve. 20 years of long nights and early mornings of labor, sweat, and sacrifice. Obinna's business grows, thanks in no small part to Ifeanyi's loyalty and tireless work. He manages the markets, handles difficult customers, and solves problems with skill beyond his years. The business prospers, and so too does Ifeanyi's faith in the promise he was given. A promise that, at the end of these years, he would receive his own wealth, his own place in the world. But as the years roll on, something begins to shift. Obinna's praises grow fewer, his generosity dims. In his eyes, wealth is a hunger that cannot be satisfied, and greed slowly takes root. Ifeanyi remains blind to this change, still holding on to the dream that has sustained him for 2 decades. The 20 years have passed. Today is the day. Ifeanyi walks into his uncle's office, the weight of 2 decades of labor heavy on his shoulders. He stands before Obinna, waiting for the words he has dreamed of hearing for so long. It is time to build your own fortune. But the words do not come. Instead, Obinna's face hardens, his eyes cold and distant. The promise that once bound them is now nothing more than a shadow. Obinna, blinded by greed, accuses Ifeanyi of theft, of dishonesty. The words fall like stones upon Ifeanyi's heart. He pleads, he begs for understanding, but Obinna's mind is made up. There will be no reward, no business, no future. Ifeanyi is cast out with nothing but the clothes on his back and the bitter taste of betrayal in his mouth. In Igbo culture, family is sacred. To betray family is to betray the very foundation of one's soul. Ifeanyi's world has been shattered, not just by the loss of wealth, but by the breaking of a sacred trust. He walks away, his heart heavy, returning to the village that once sent him forth with hope. Back in the village, the sun sets on a quiet evening. Ifeanyi returns, but not as the triumphant man he hoped to be. His father Namdi, now frail with age, welcomes him home, but the joy is gone from his eyes. Ifeanyi shares his tale of betrayal, and the village listens with disbelief. How could a man betray his own blood? The elders, the keepers of tradition, know that this wrong cannot go unpunished. In the stillness of the night, they gather under the ancient tree, the place where the spirits of the ancestors are called upon. Rituals are performed, incantations are whispered, and the ancestors, powerful and ever watchful, are summoned to judge the betrayal. The air grows thick with the weight of their presence. In Igbo tradition, the ancestors are never far away. They watch, they listen, and they act when called upon. The spirits hear Ifeanyi's cry, and they respond. Obinna, far away in the city, feels the weight of their judgment. His sleep is restless, haunted by visions of the ancestors. His once thriving business begins to fall apart, as unseen forces tear at the very fabric of his fortune. Obinna's world collapses around him. His wealth, his status, all slip through his fingers like sand. No matter what he does, nothing can stop the destruction. His nights are filled with nightmares, visions of the ancestors who demand justice. The curse of betrayal has taken hold, and it will not let go until the wrong is made right. He seeks counsel from a spiritualist, a last attempt to save himself. The answer is clear. Return to the village. Seek forgiveness from the one you wronged, or the curse will consume everything you have built. Obinna, now broken and fearful, knows what he must do. Obinna returns to the village, a shadow of the man he once was. He stands before the elders, before the villagers, and most importantly, before Ifeanyi. With shame in his voice, he confesses his sin, admitting to the greed that blinded him, to the betrayal that nearly destroyed his family. The village watches in silence. Forgiveness is not easily given, especially when trust has been so deeply broken. But in the end, the choice belongs to Ifeanyi. Will he choose revenge, or will he choose the path of the ancestors, the path of forgiveness? The elders wait, the spirits wait, and Ifeanyi must decide. With the wisdom of the ancestors in his heart, Ifeanyi steps forward. He looks into his uncle's eyes, filled with pain and regret, and speaks the words that will change both their lives. I forgive you. In that moment, the curse is lifted. The ancestors are appeased, and the bond of family, though scarred, is restored. Obinna, humbled, bows his head in gratitude, knowing that he has been given a second chance. The elders perform the final rites, sealing the forgiveness with the blessings of the ancestors. As the village celebrates the mending of this broken bond, Ifeanyi's life begins anew. His uncle, honoring his promise at last, gives him the wealth and business he was owed. Ifeanyi, now a man of his own means, builds a future filled with hope and prosperity. The ancestors, ever watchful, look down with approval, knowing that justice has been served, not through revenge, but through the strength of forgiveness. Ifeanyi's story will be told for generations, a tale of betrayal, redemption, and the power of family. In the land of the Igbo, where family is sacred and promises are eternal, the ancestors remind us that even in the face of betrayal, there is always a path to redemption.